Take your wildest dream and make it a reality. Make it not a dream anymore. Make it something that's real. Bring it to fruition. Tell yourself you're a star.
Peace. Choose to inspire, not destroy podcast, and we're back.
Austin.
Yo, choose to inspire, not destroy.
Peace. Choose to inspire, not destroy podcast, episode 34. And we're back. I got my guys with me, Brandon, Kofi, I'm G. Last but not least, a very near and dear friend to me, Mike Irizarry. We know him as Izzy. He's in the building with us, y'all. He's inspired. He took some time to show us some love. And we appreciate it, Izzy, man. Thanks for joining us.
My pleasure.
If this is your first time here, we appreciate you sticking with us, showing us some love. If you've been here before, we hope you've enjoyed what's been going on, and you understand that we just trying to put something together and show some love and inspire a few people out there while we inspire ourselves. We just men growing, learning, and trying to get it right, figure some things out. Fellas, what's going on? How y'all doing?
Good. No complaints.
Yo, I've been better. I'm feeling kind of under the weather. I got my booster, and it's got me a little bit booster sick. But other than that, I'm good.
Just take your shirt off and do some push-ups, bruh. You'll be good.
I don't think that's how sick works, if I'm being honest.
If you drink water, you think water fixes everything. I think push-ups and taking your shirt off fix everything. But before we really get into chopping it up, I want to give a little bit of backstory on our guest today, man, for joining us, Izzy. Yo, before I even get into anything, I've been holding this story. I gotta tell you this, man. So he's a coach at the high school that I went to, Grover Cleveland High School. Shout out to them. Shout out to his students. And it was a time that I had something going on that could have just ruined my whole situation in the school. I was playing basketball. We were really good. And I came into school that day. The girl that I was dating, she was telling me that this kid was messing with her. Like, he was bothering her. He was almost like stalking her in school. So I came to school that day with bad intentions on my mind. Like, as soon as I came through, I knew what it was going to be. I got in the building, walked through the door. I see this kid as soon as I get there, and I'm about to make my move, and all I hear is, George. And I was like, who's calling me like that? And I looked, and it was Izzy. And he had no real knowledge of what was going on, what I was going to do. I guess he just felt my vibe. And he pulled me to the side, and he kicked it with me. And he says, you about to throw it all away, kid. Go to class. So I went to class. And then later on, they called me down to the office. They sat me down, had a conversation with me. And all of that stemmed from Izzy just looking out. You know, from wanting to make sure that I was doing what I was supposed to be doing, and that I wasn't just taking a chance that I shouldn't have been taking, that I wasn't getting involved in the mix of some stuff that had no business in the building, that I had no business being a part of. So, yo, Izzy, I really appreciate it now, man. At the time, I didn't appreciate it. I just thought you was like in my business or whatever, but you looked out, and it meant a lot to me. Now, as a man looking back, it really meant something to me.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that, George. But a lot of what I do is put my nose in somebody's business. And, you know, as a kid, when you're thinking about it, that's all it is somebody in your business. But what it really is me trying to look out for somebody like somebody once looked out for me. You know, trying to make people make the right decisions. That's a big part of what I do. So, you know, to you, it was, you know, at the time, yeah, he's up in my business trying to tell me what I should be doing. It's only because I've been there and done that already, you know. That's what kids need to realize, that not everybody's going to be like that, but when you got that one that's there and can talk to you, it's a big deal.
Yeah, I agree.
100%. It means a lot. It means a lot to have somebody looking out for you when you're young and you're impressionable. You know, like when you think you got it all figured out, but you really don't know anything. You haven't been out in
You
the
don't know
world.
nothing.
You haven't had no real experiences. You haven't learned anything, but you just walking around like you know it all and can't nobody tell you anything. And to have somebody take the time to really just check you when you need to be checked and let you know, like, look, man, I'm looking out for you, whether you like it or not. I'm looking out for you. So it was big. It was big, and that's a really big part of why I wanted you to be on the show, because this was over 20 years ago.
Yeah.
You know,
sure.
it's over 20 years ago, and you've consistently been the same person. You've consistently been a sincere, genuine, inspiring person. So I feel like you fit the mold of what we trying to do here.
Thank you.
So much respect to you.
Can I interject and just ask? Can you give us like a brief history? Can you give us like your story real quick?
My story. Okay, so I'm an old man, as you can see. You know, I've been teaching at Grover Cleveland since 1996. Okay, but before that, when I went to school, I went to Hillcrest High School in Jamaica, Queens.
Crest.
Yeah, something like that. When I graduated, I went to Queens College. I originally wanted to get into television and stuff like that. I did my bachelor's degree in communications. Got a job at NBC. I worked in news productions. You know that show they do in the end of the year, the year in review show.
Yeah.
I worked on that show.
Oh, really? Wow.
I got my first credit.
That's pretty cool.
And then a week later, they shut down the department for budget cuts. I got a job and they shut me down. So I went to my next thing, and I worked as a mobile DJ for about 15 years, on and off and stuff like that. And I was with my girl from high school. We started dating the last week of high school, and we had a few years in together. And it's time to move on and get serious. And I'm just doing this DJ thing, and so there's weeks when I make a lot of money, and there's weeks I don't make no money. If I don't work, I don't get paid. So I had to look for something a little more steady, a little safer. So I went back to school. I was going to become a phys ed teacher. I started going for that, and then I had some family issues. Wasn't doing so well in school. I was working a full-time job and a part-time job and going to school, and it got to be a little bit much. I stepped back from school for a little bit. And then I said, okay, it's time to buy my girl a ring. I really need to get back on my school thing. I went back to school. As I'm substitute teaching at the school, they say, all right, listen, we got 2 positions available. Which one can you take? So they made me go down. They made me go down to the Board of Ed. I was either going to be a phys ed teacher or a special ed teacher. And I didn't have enough credits for the phys ed teacher, so I became a special ed teacher. And to this day, I'm 9 credits away from being a phys ed teacher. I never went back to finish it because I like being a special ed teacher. I'm kind of like I don't know if y'all would even know it, Mr. Carter. You know, remember Welcome Back Carter? Y'all too young for that.
Yeah.
I've heard of it.
I'm an old man. That just
you
proves
showing where them grades coming from, is
man. It was a guy who works with a group of kids that they need the most, and that's what I do. And
is that not to cut you off, just really quick, the reference, is that where the Welcome Back theme song?
Yes.
Okay.
That show. And that's where I got to where I was. But the reason why I do what I do, I had a teacher in high school. She was the gymnastics coach. She was my health teacher. She was real cool. She was young lady. At the time she was young. She knew how to connect like what we had that connection, and like every teenage kid, I wanted to drop out of high school at one point, go get a job. Everybody had money in their pockets. I didn't have no money in my pockets. I wanted to get a job. She talked me into staying in school. I was a good student, so she talked me into staying in school. And when I did end up graduating with honors and stuff like that, I went back to her and I said, listen, I really want to thank you for what you did for me. And she said, don't thank me. She said, because I didn't do it for you. I did it for the person that did it for me. She made me promise to do it for somebody in the future. And now that's my job for you. I want you to do it for somebody else in the future. I want you to be that person who is the inspiration or the reason that somebody can see the light. And it's not about preaching what's good and what's wrong. It's just let them see their own truth. Put somebody in the path where when they could be going the wrong way, put them back on the right way. And I've been blessed to be able to do that throughout my career, and I'm very thankful for that. So let me give a special shout out to Lorraine Brink, okay, because that was my girl back in the days, and she took good care of me, and she put me on this path.
Yeah, nice. Shout out to her, man, because you do it. It's effortless. Izzy, man, for real. It comes across just as who you are. And to see you the same way from so long ago to now, that it's no faking with it. No. That it's coming from a real place.
Who I am. I am who I am. I don't put on no airs, I'm not a fake tough guy. I'm not a real tough guy. I am who I am. I'll stand up for what I think is right. And if I think one of my guys or one of my girls is right, I'm going to stand up for them. That's what I do.
Yeah, 100%. Real quick though, before we even get into anything else, I gotta ask you, your best team versus our team that won the division. What do you think? Who wins that?
Because I never had the height that you guys had. You had Big Mark. Keith was your guard, point guard, 6'3" point guard.
Yeah,
that ain't fair.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? You had Little Lou, Big Lou, Hans. What's the other kid's name? The big kid.
Fortuna.
Lamont, Jimmy, Fortuna.
Yeah, it was a squad. It was. Yeah,
I never had a team with that much height. Yeah. I had a kid that was 6'10" once, and that was it. But he was by himself up there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I would pick your team.
Yeah.
But if we could do it right now, my guys will outrun y'all.
Definitely. It'll be like the Road Runner or something. All you would see is dust. Keith gonna have knee braces on both knees.
Every once in a while he'll start running. oh. Where's the Bengay at? Where's that massager?
Yeah, the crazy thing is he's still effective though. We tried to play in the league before COVID hit, and he still was one of the hardest players on the court.
He does what he does, man. He works at it. He actually hit me up earlier today. He ref 3 games today.
Wow.
So he's out there running still. Now he got a little boy still. So he's coaching. We had a game the other night. He didn't get home till 9:45 because as soon as our game was over, he had to go to his son's practice and stuff like that. So he stay active,
Yeah, he's putting it in, and it's nice to see him paired up with you, man. It's a good.
To me, it's really special.
Feeling. Yeah,
it's a big deal.
Yeah, it's just like carrying on the legacy of all of that, and you carrying on the legacy of what you trying to do. You kind of answered one of my questions too.
I love to show people, Keith was my boy back in 1999. Just that number, 99. Damn, most of these kids wasn't even born yet. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. And to still be working in the school system, like those are generations that you're seeing.
I have kids that went to school with your parents. I mean, you went to school with my kids now, parents. I have lots of kids like that.
Bro.
Your father was in my class. Oh, your mom was in my class.
Real memories. Real memories. And part of the reason why I felt like it was important to have you on too was with the unfortunate act of the school shooting that just happened. It shows like your school is supposed to be the second safest place in the world for your kids to go, aside from home. When you send them to school, you expect them to be protected and secure. And it just shows that we don't know everything that's going on in these kids' minds. And our teachers and our people that work in the school system, they're very important because they shape and they mold these kids when they're not with us. They protect them and they keep them.
I really wish more people understood what you just said. Too many people consider us babysitters. That's a place where I go drop my kids off. They get their hot lunch, and when they're done, then they come home, whatever. There are so many teachers out there. Right now you remember me because we had that one connection and stuff like that. But there are so many teachers out there that I work with that have that connection with the kids at school, and so many, and for years and years and years that stays, and it's real, But
Mm-hmm.
one of the things that I agree with you about, it should be the safest place. People have always complained about Grover Cleveland, saying, "Oh, why you got metal detectors?" It's like going into jail when you go into there.
Yeah.
You know what though? I feel safe. I'm not going to get shivved in the back every day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm not. That's not something I'm worried about.
Mm-hmm.
We got metal detectors at the doors.
Mm-hmm.
I feel
Mm-hmm.
safe.
Yeah.
And we've caught stuff trying to come in, but that's the thing. We caught it.
Yeah.
So I feel safe.
Yeah.
I feel safe enough at Cleveland that my own son goes there.
Mm-hmm. Oh wow, you keeping it all the way real too, Izzy. Because when I was telling the story, I was gonna say when I came in the building and went through the metal detectors, but I ain't want to put that in there. But that's how long
I think
they've
the metal
always
detectors are
had
the
them.
best thing, especially in the area that we at. There's a lot of stuff going on, man.
Yeah.
And now that the pandemic is not over, but like people are coming out, people scared.
Mm-hmm.
Scared. You seen last week or a week before, they went to that school in I forget where it was. I think it was Brooklyn. They came up with 21 weapons.
Wow.
In one day.
What do you think? Just opinion, right? Because that's all you can give. What do you think is, since the pandemic is winding down, like you were saying, what do you think the reason is? People are now coming back with, not that they've ever gone anywhere, but like, I guess my question is, why is there less loving and back to the usual, right? Like, you would think that the pandemic would have taught people, you know what, like, most of this stuff isn't worth like getting in trouble, dying over. Let's come back and like support each other, right? Especially in places that were hit the hardest, right? As opposed to, going back to usual, things as usual, or business as usual.
The way I would answer that is, people like the people that I see on my screen right now that are living a positive life, they're looking to do positive. But if you've been hit hard and repeatedly over and over again, and you don't see that positive, you're only seeing the negative around you. It's hard to be positive when you're surrounded by so much negativity. People are out there, food insecure, home insecure. They don't know where they're going to be. Oh, mom and dad both lost their jobs. Where are we going to stay? That rent forgiveness is off. I have more and more kids coming to school eating school lunch, eating the schoolies, and nobody likes those. But that's food.
Except for pizza.
They get. Nah, the pizza. You'd be surprised. It's not even as good as it used to be.
Yeah.
I used to love the pizza too. Everything is low fat.
They too carb conscious for you.
Everything is cut back now. They only get chocolate milk once a week.
Oh no, it's not the option. Weird. Yeah, that's crazy. I thought the chocolate milk was low fat.
The chocolate chip cookies that we used to get.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now those are whole wheat.
Yeah.
I
don't think I never seen a whole wheat cookie before.
That's terrible. It kind of makes sense though, because if I'm sending my kid and that's the only like meal they're giving, people are fighting to make sure there's some nutrition in there. So
yeah,
I get it.
I agree with but sometimes they take it a little too far.
Yeah, you need some flavor too.
Yeah, sometimes like don't totally take over what you feel like everybody should be doing, because everybody is not the same. B, I know you were saying on the episode before that, you wish you had somebody to teach you some of the stuff that you know now, because you know a lot of stuff, dog. I'm not even going front.
Even more than that, Izzy just kind of like sang my song, right? Like freshman year of high school, like I was super duper nerd, right? Like straight A student. And then the second half of freshman year, I got put in a foster home. Everything was crazy, right? Like didn't have anything. They didn't have clothes, didn't have money, they didn't have nothing. And the person that I called moms was a Spark counselor in high school who like took me under her wing and was like, here's a coat, right? Like you can't be cold in the winter, because I would just show up with like the jean jacket that I had and just pretend like I wasn't cold. You know what I mean? Like thug it out. And she was like, nah, like, you got it. And she was only in the school for 1 year. Saved my life.
George, you remember the sport counselor's name?
No.
You remember?
That he's talking about?
No, yours.
No, I don't. What was her name?
Carol.
Carol? Nah, I don't.
She was dating the cop from the school.
Oh, I do remember. You got to give me the T, Izzy. I remember the T. I don't remember all that other stuff, man. Yeah, I wish I would have like really took advantage of all of the people that were around me and that were trying to help and that genuinely wanted to help.
You had a lot on your plate back then, George.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was a rough time, but my boys, man, they got me through. That's why it's like real impressive and special for me to see what you're doing with the basketball program and how far it's come. And yeah, you're just doing your thing, Izzy, man. I can't give you enough flowers for.
I want to give a shout out to a program that we also do. You know, when you were there, we had Mr. Lee Brader. He was the longest standing principal in the city, in the history of the city. Wow. He worked at Grover Cleveland for 59 years.
Jesus.
He started off as a social studies teacher, became assistant principal. Since you left, we're on our third principal.
Wow.
Yeah, which is still, you know, that's not that many. You know, some get a new principal every few years. But this new principal that we have, he brought in a program. It's called MBK. You might have heard of it before. It's a Barack Obama initiative for young men of color to meet up with other men of color who are already in leadership positions and teach them how to network and how to what's the word I want to look for? How to advocate for themselves to become leaders and stuff like that. And that's a big thing. That's a really big thing. And so that's one of the programs that came up, and when I heard about it, I was like, yeah, definitely, you could put me down for that. I'll work with that. I love to teach young men, especially young men of color, because you know there's so few opportunities sometimes for us, and you know, I seen guys who all they did was complain. Oh, there's no opportunity. Oh, all right, let me show you something. Then you got nothing to complain about no more. You know, put you in.
Yo, before you go too far, I want to double back to a tidbit in your story where basically like you illustrate and like we're very open with the fact that like you didn't have it figured out, right? Like you tried doing this, it worked for as long as it worked, and when it didn't work, you did something else, and like showing that it's never too late to find like your career path, like the thing that you enjoy.
You know, it's one of the things that they push in schools right now. That's the growth mindset. You know, you have to believe that you can. You know, it's not like, oh, this is what your limitations are because who you are and where you come from, and that's it. No, you got to believe that you can go all the way, and if you believe you can go all the way, you might not get all the way, but you're going to go a lot further than if you just believe that you stuck in where you are. You know, I'm a big believer in that.
Yeah. You was about to say something, Kof?
No. I think back to when I was in school. You know, I was in a different type of school. I went to SPES, if you're familiar with it at all. It's on 106 in Madison. And it was a kind of like a magnet school because like our elementary school was in Manhattan Center, it was River East, and then we had SPES, and it was different. It was obviously a public high school, but it was a different setup where like the idea wasn't really about like passing tests, but it was more like when in order to graduate, I had to present 12 portfolios, right, on like every subject, right? And it was more of that interaction, but you know, it was still in the middle of Spanish Harlem, and you know, all the students that were there didn't always have, you know, positive influences. And I just think back at listening to everyone's story of how fortunate I was, because at home, my mother and grandmother were two people that always took kids in from the neighborhood to try and send them to college. So I had that from when I was born. So when I went to school, I would, you know, I played basketball, I played sports, was, you know, hung out with the popular crowd, but I still was like, oh, okay, you guys are going to go on 106 and third during blood initiation season. Nah, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to get on the train and go home, right? So, but I see how having a positive influence in your life definitely changes your outcome, because we even had teachers like yourself in our school that were looking out for people. I mean, our guidance counselor had an inn at Syracuse and was trying to send as many people as she could there on full rides. And she was able to affect some positively. Others were like, no, I'm just not, that's just not for me. And it's interesting realizing, you know, how much one person can make a difference, let alone having 3 or 4 in your life. So, yeah.
Yo, you actually do double positivity, right? Like you're doing special education and like helping inner city youth and on the basketball team. Like, what do you think like about your upbringing kind of led you down that path?
Well, I was born in the Bronx. My father never graduated high school. My mom graduated high school. She didn't go to college at the, you know, when I was born and stuff like that. Um, we lived in a pretty rough neighborhood in the Bronx, and they wanted to get us out before I went to school, so we moved to Queens. I lived in Flushing, Queens. Garden apartments, nice neighborhood, a little mix, you know, but not hood. At least not when we first moved there, you know. Um, I went to a fully mixed elementary school. You know, I was a very good student, like I said earlier. I was one of those kids that was in the gifted program. I got sent to a middle school away from all my friends in downtown Flushing, which was even more mixed than the neighborhood that I came from. And so I was around people of all races and colors, black, white, Asian, you know, the whole spectrum. And so that's how I was brought up. Then, you know, my father lost his job and he was coming to school with me, like going on school trips when I was in elementary school. And it was like, you didn't see nobody's fathers coming on elementary school. Like, yo, my dad is kind of cool.
Yeah.
As I got a little older, my dad would come up to the handball courts in the park and bust people's ass playing handball and stuff like that. So it was like, yo, my dad's one of the cool guys. Everybody likes my dad. You know, this is kind of a big deal.
Right.
And then my dad got a new job. He got into a union, you know, a good union job. And that's when I wanted to go to work with him and not be in school anymore. And he made me learn everything that he did and then didn't let me work. He's like, nah, you're going to college. My son is going to go to college. And, you know, like he really busted my ass so I would go to college. And it paid off because the first year I started teaching, you know, we did our taxes together with the same accountant. And he said, I want to show you something. He pulled up his and pulled up mine. There was only like a $2,000 difference. He's like, you're in your first year. I'm in my 25th year.
Wow.
Look at the difference in the pay. And then the next year he goes, come here, I want to show you again. And mine was higher than his. And he's like, I break my back. I break my knees. You know, I got arthritis in my hands. And you go to school with a nice sweater on, you know? And so he really pushed me towards that. You know, I lost my pops this year. He had Parkinson's and then he caught COVID. So it was really tough for me this year.
Oh man, condolences.
You know, God bless him. He taught me very well. My father was a very incredible man, a generous man, and a man's man. You know, he taught me how to be a man, how to speak to other men, how to speak to women, how to treat women. And you know, it's just something that was ingrained in me throughout my life because of him. And so that's where I'm coming from. And you know, when I say generous, I don't always necessarily mean like with financial stuff. You know, generous with his time and you know, he'll sit down and listen. He would sit down and listen to people, and that's where I learned it from. You know, so that's to answer Brandon. I hope that answered Brandon's question. I don't see him there for a second.
Yeah, no, kick his back in, Izzy. It's cool. You the guest. You could let the people know that this dude, just saying, his camera.
I answered the question that he answered. That's where I come from. That's, you know, like.
And it was a great answer. It really was, and it just carries on into other stuff because that influence, and we were talking about it on the last episode. I was asking them if they felt like children learn what they live. And how does that play a part in the man you become, the person you become? And you talking about your dad and the things he instilled in you from young is very
how old are your
important.
Boys now?
10. My oldest is 21. Austin is 10. Amari is 6. So, you know, I'm fully loaded. But they all caught me at different points in life. You know, so the oldest, he got to see me kind of still be dysfunctional and trying to learn and figure it out. And now the other two, they're younger, they get me when I understand more. When I know that my presence is key. Like no matter
Presence is more
what.
than presence.
It don't matter if I'm not doing nothing, but they need to know that I'm here. They need to know that no matter what, this dude is gonna be around and he's gonna support me and he's gonna love me. And if I don't got nothing else to give you, I got all of me to give you. I got all of that. So that's most important to me, you know?
I have a question for you, Izzy. Philosophical question. Since what you're doing and you're there on the ground, do you feel like if you had your choice between having a parent in these children's lives that is more involved, and I shouldn't assume, a parent that, you know, yeah, I guess you can phrase it as more involved or pushing them in a positive direction, or would you rather have a musician or athlete that's pushing them in the positive direction? Which one do you feel like is more beneficial to get the child that may be going down this path,
Parent.
you know, the wrong path,
Parent.
to the right path? Parent.
Really. Easy answer, the parent. Because the parent is doing it because they love that child. That's your child. You care more about anything. You would do anything for your child, you know. And a musician or an athlete, it's great to hear when they push and stuff like that, but that's not a personal relationship. And I think a personal relationship is one of the most important things. You know, when a kid is not gonna be able to go ask LeBron. You know, LeBron, I gotta say, I love what LeBron does. You know, he built that school. He's putting kids to college. He's opening up doors for them. I think that's fantastic. He's there for his children. You know, how many superstars you know that, the nanny's raising their kids? Nah, he's at every one of their games. He's doing stuff with them. God bless him. I love what he's doing, you know, and he has the financial wherewithal to do it. And that's great. But if one of G's kids says, yo, look at LeBron, he's telling me to go to school, this, that, and the other. But if he needs to go speak to LeBron, is LeBron going to have the time to speak to him?
Sure.
Whereas the parent is there on the scene, you know? So I think it's great when we have those stars and people who have some influence are speaking positivity and pushing kids to do the right thing. That's great, which there's definitely not enough of those. But I would definitely take a person, even if it's not a parent, even if it's just somebody that they can connect with. I think the connection is what really makes the difference. Like George said in the first thing, he didn't know where I was coming from. I seen him coming in the building. I snatched him. You know, is the musician going to be able to snatch you when you're about to do something stupid? They're not going to be on the scene.
True indeed.
You know what I'm saying? So I think it is a great thing when those people, those celebrities, they tell people to do the right thing and push them in the right direction and, you know, and set examples. But there's nothing that's going to beat on the ground experience, you know?
So do you feel like and thank you for that answer, do you feel like when the influence becomes unbalanced, it's because there's no day-to-day connection? So when a child is leaning more into what a musician or an athlete is saying than somebody that might be around them every day, from your opinion, is it because there's a lack of like personal connection or day-to-day connection with that person?
It could be that. It could, you know, every kid has their own story, you know. That's one of the things. It took me a long time to learn that. It's not everybody lived my life, you know, and saw what I saw and have what I had and didn't have what I didn't have, you know. So you have to look at each individual case as an individual, you know. I've dealt with kids that come from money. I've dealt with kids that come from illegal money. So that, like, it might be they might be wearing Gucci today and wearing flip flops tomorrow, you know, because somebody got locked up and the money's not coming in no more. You know what I'm saying? I've dealt with kids who were abused, and I've dealt with kids who are, you know, fully supported by entire families. You know, every single situation is different. You know, I've had kids that I don't want to say a name because his
Right.
story is bad. You know, started off bad, but his father was a drug dealer. But this kid was a genius in school. He had multiple talents. He was a concert violinist. This kid got a 98 on his English Regents in 10th grade, you know, but he got in trouble all the time, you know, because he didn't have that connection with somebody who's going to push him in the right direction all the time. And so, you know, later in life, he's doing really well now. You know, he's doing really well for himself. He went back to school, did what he had to do, and he's going to end up being a very, very successful man. And maybe that's the journey he needed to take. You know, everybody is on their own timeline. And that's one of the things I really try to tell the kids. You know, you don't have to keep up with the Joneses. You know, it's about doing you on your timeline, whatever's right for you. That's when you're going to be it. And you know, I think G is a good example of that. You know, he started off rough, went through a lot of stuff, but now look at him. He's in my opinion, G, you're a success, man. You're doing your thing.
Appreciate
raising
you.
your family, and I'm proud to see what you're doing, especially this.
Yeah, appreciate it. This is my therapy. Just sitting here kicking it. This is me kind of trying to play you how you did to me. You know, it's kind of like I understand now. You know, I like to say my third eye is open a little bit more, and I get it to where I know it's okay to need somebody. It's okay to express that you need somebody, either to listen or to talk to or to just be around, you know, to soak up some of that energy.
They would understand that, you know, because there's such a stigma about, oh, you need help. Oh, you need help. Help is a good thing.
Yeah. It's nothing wrong with asking for it. It's nothing wrong
help
with
goes both ways too, because sometimes when somebody tells you they need you, that's what you need.
Yeah.
You know, that builds you up so that you can get through your day.
100%.
Not too many people say that. That was bars right there.
Too much pride to it, you know, and it's not enough understanding to somebody else's situation and what they might be going through. It's just what you think they should be doing and how they should be acting. Exactly. Every now and then you got to just step back and look at it from somebody else's perspective and just try and show a little love. Like, damn, it's free. I mean, it costs nothing to just show somebody some love and to try and pick them up when they need to be picked up. Yeah. B, I see you down there. You're not feeling well. You already let us know that you had your booster. I don't want you looking crazy on camera. Is it anything else y'all want to ask Izzy or whatever? Izzy, I'm about to try and wrap it up because, again, I don't want my man looking crazy. I wish we could kick it longer. If anything, you know, me and you, we talk offline. I got the solo joint that I'm working on. Right. Me and you could chop it up and have a real nice conversation.
Anytime, G.
Yeah. Actually, related to a conversation we were having earlier, like outside of my day job and my free time, I'm also a sign maker. And if there's ever anything we can do from our podcast, from our organization to like help you guys out and like something you want to celebrate, something you want created, we'll be more than happy to donate that to the organization. To your school.
Definitely, Izzy, man. Like, we here, I'm here. I want to keep in touch. Appreciate the invite down to kick it with your guys.
Anytime you're free, you just let me know and we make sure we're gonna be in the building that day. And you know, I'll get you cleared at the door. You come through.
Yeah,
and you'll be happy to know my principal is very strict with the mask policy.
All right, nice.
So good with that.
Yeah, because I don't want to be like
that last week at a game. We coaching the game and people in the stands had their masks down. He's like, why do these people have their masks down? I don't know. I'm coaching the game. I'm not watching the stand.
Yeah, I'm not on mask patrol. I like that though. That's what's up. Yeah. Nah, definitely appreciate it. Izzy, appreciated you then for what you did. Appreciate you now. And I hope you continue to grow and flourish and just do great things and inspire the youth. And much success to you and your team. It's lovely to see what the program has come from to what it is now.
That was one of my biggest things. And you know, your boy Keith, he'll tell you, I try to make it like a family. You know, you guys, your group, committee crew.
Yes, sir.
Right? Y'all chopping it for years and years and years. And I try to use that as an example to let these boys know that it's not about the wins. And Keith is busting my chops right now about I'm about to hit a milestone with wins. And I told him, yeah, that's great and everything, but that don't mean nothing to me, man.
Yeah.
Because I'd rather build the memories
Mm-hmm.
and build young men,
Mm-hmm.
from little boys into grown men. That's more important to me. I haven't always had the winningest teams. I've had plenty of struggle years and stuff like that. But yeah, it would be great to hit that milestone. But that's secondary to me to the program and what the program does for the kids, and what it does for me. You sent me a thing about a couple of talking points, and how do I bridge that gap? It's funny that you asked me that because my colleagues tell me I'm the oldest teenager in the building.
Yeah.
I do. I stay young with them.
Yeah.
They keep me young. And now, that I have my own teenagers at home, I'm not that fuddy-duddy old parent that, some people have to deal with. I understand what they're going through because I've been dealing with teenagers for 25 years plus.
Yeah.
So that's what I want to do. I want to continue to build my program. I wish Keith would become a teacher so he could take it over for me.
That would be lovely.
amazing.
That would be lovely. Word. You never know. You never know.
Even if he don't do that, as I got him with me for the last couple of years, and if I get him for a few more, I'll take every minute of it. And I'm just proud to see my boys growing up and being good fathers, and positive people in our society. It just makes me really happy.
Yeah, that's what's up. It's a blessing. You set the standard, Izzy, and you gave us the benchmark of where it's like what you could be, who you could be. You don't need $1 million to be a good person. Just be a good person. So shout out to you. Shout out to KK. Fellas, y'all already know what's up. It's been a pleasure. I look forward to the next time. Whoever you are out there, whatever you're going through, just understand that it's a phase and you could get through it. Just keep fighting. Keep pushing. Whoever you are, wherever you are, no matter what you're doing, just be inspired. Choose to inspire, not destroy. You heard? Peace.
Peace.
Appreciate y'all. Good
Thank
night,
you.
fellas.
Yes, sir. Go lay down.
Thank you.
Yo, choose to inspire, not destroy.